Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. It is good to be back streaming in the daytime. And welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and Coffee Stream episode 517. It is, of course, a Wednesdays with Skep Day, and he shall be here momentarily. But I thought we would start now so we wouldn't be starting late, and I would just say hello to you all. It's been a bit, actually, exactly a week since I did a coffee stream in the daytime. Or no, it was last Monday because yeah, I couldn't stream last Wednesday either. Okay, yeah, it's been a while, so I'm glad to be back here streaming in the daytime. I do have the little one here still. This is his last day home, though. I think he'll be well enough to go back to school tomorrow. So he is playing Minecraft in the background. So I do have the office door open just so I can hear him. So I do apologize if you hear him in the background. Oh, excuse me. And for some reason, my brain has decided in the last 5 or 10 minutes, hey, you're going live soon. Let's start yawning. That's a great idea. Anyway, hello, Wikipedia snippet. Glad to have you here. Very, very glad to have you here. Let's see. What else is happening? Not too much. The weather is starting to warm up. They're still calling for mixed rain and snow over the weekend, though. I hope to hell that changes, because it's April, for crying out loud. I'm done with snow. I'm very done. But then again, I'm done with snow when Christmas is over. So you're on the other side of the watery? Oh, the watery island. Ah. Good morning, Spittlebuggies. Oh, yay, Shroom. Thank you to Shroom. The original Shroom is an awesome, awesome person. All right. Let's get a sip of coffee. And we will look at the first story while we wait for Mr. Talk to come here. He's probably having an emergency with the doggies or with the grandchildren, considering that the tornado, I think, took out the school. So there may have been a remote learning emergency within the past half an hour. So let's we're going to do the first story here. All right. Oops, that's not the thing I wanted. Okay, here we go. And since I have the virtual device going, I don't need to have the tab audio checked. Okay, this is a CBC article, so again, take it with the bias that it's presented with, but this is interesting. Oh, the link, did it not send again? It said I sent the link. Yeah, it's there. It's there. I'll send. Oh, there it is. Oh, there's okay. I was like, what the hell? Did it not send for him? Because I see it. I'm coming. I had to switch over. Okay. Ah, add to stream. Hello.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Just fine. I was sitting there looking at my Twitter thinking, when is she going to send the link? When is she? And I just hadn't scroll. I I didn't
Oh,
realize there was a scroll bar on the right. I just
oops.
didn't see it, and you had already sent the link. So I'm sorry for
It's
being
all
like that.
right.
I was sitting there waiting for the link and thinking, well, she's kind of slack about starting her show sometimes. They don't always start exactly on time. She'll send the link, and then I realized she'd already sent it. Damn it.
So
So
did
anyway,
I not hit the send button again?
yeah, no, I didn't hit the pay attention
Refresh
button.
button.
That's what happened. The idiot button. So anyway, how have you been? It seems like it's been a month of Sundays since
It
we got together during the day.
it's been way too long. There's
Yeah.
been well because that's the one problem with having freaking the weather that we have
Oh
in
yeah.
spring and fall
Tell me about it.
because it's so all over the place
Yeah.
that is the most easy time to get multiple colds.
Yeah.
So we had a cold before March break, and then we had March break, and then we had a
Yeah.
peak of health, and then we and then we had the little one getting sick last week.
Sure.
So
It's funny if you go back through the archive of our shows and go back to some of our early shows together.
yeah,
For some reason, I keep telling you, hey, enjoy this time with your kids. It's going to be gone before you know it. And
hmm
I heard myself say, they're going to be talking before long, and you won't be able to get them to shut up, and it'll be wonderful at first, but there will be times when you're just happy when they go to sleep. That oh,
yep,
and now that's all coming true for you.
yep.
Really, it's happening in real life, and everybody can hear it on stream. Can hear the miracles of the miracle of the continuation of human
This is
beings.
him wandering through his Minecraft world right now and
Yeah,
discovering he found a secret passageway and a
you got a
tunnel.
kid playing Minecraft. You made that kid. Think
Yep.
about that. It just still blows me away. We can make our own babies. It's just
Yep.
phenomenal.
It's
Absolutely
awesome.
phenomenal. So, yeah, every once in a while I get impressed by the ordinary miracles of life, and I guess this is one of those days. Well, we had a brush with a real tornado, a
We
big
sure
tornado.
did. So did the grandkids forced to do remote learning now while the school is
It was just that was actually their elementary school, and they're
oh
all out of elementary school. The middle school, which was farther away from the site of the tornado, had a couple of cracked windows, and that was all.
all right.
So where they go to school is okay, but
Yeah,
the places where that tornado touched down, I it just there were big trees there, trees that were 3 feet thick, and it just tore them out of the ground. It
that
tore
tornado.
them and threw them. Huge, big trees, and the one area of town where we uh, had an extended power failure. They're just getting their power back today.
Yeah,
Uh,
the tornado that I almost was in that I mentioned last night. It actually hit in Ottawa of all
yeah,
places, and well, actually just outside in Elmer, Quebec, and it went through my uncle's neighborhood. And my uncle had just been picking my mom and I up from the train station in downtown Ottawa, and we had just been like crossing back over into Hull, and we were going up his road, and his girlfriend at the time met us and like flagged us down and was like, a tornado just came through here and there's another one coming.
Yep.
And so like we hurried into the house, like, and they had just moved into that house, so she had been painting and so had the windows open, and so their house was like one of the only houses that still had a roof because all of the windows had been open because she was painting.
Now you are roughly at the level of like you're at about the same latitude as Kitchener or Guelph.
Yep. But
That's
this was in Ottawa, this tornado.
this was actually in Ottawa. Okay.
Yeah. The
Right.
tornado that I'm talking about was in
People don't realize that Ottawa is way the hell and gone from Toronto.
it is.
People think they're twin cities, and they're not. They're there's like a France between them.
It's 4 hours between Toronto and Ottawa driving.
It is. It's like like driving
And
from Belgium to Spain.
There's a reason. Like before we get into this first story, there's a reason that we chose Ottawa as our capital, because there were three options. There was Toronto, Kingston, or Ottawa, right? And we chose Ottawa because we thought that Toronto and Kingston were too close to the border with you guys.
Yeah.
And we didn't like the concept of manifest destiny too much. So we decided that our capital should be farther from the border. So
the thing of it is, you may have escaped becoming a part of the United States, and it would have been an interesting an interesting pairing. It's too late to do it now, but it would have. It's interesting to speculate on how that would have changed things to effectively not have a foreign country to our north. I mean, and the feeling is with Canada, it always has been with me growing up. It may be changing now, but is that Canada's a foreign country, but not very foreign. They're really pretty much like an extension of the United States in most ways, with some interesting different customs and interesting different backstory. But, in terms of cultural norms, those people would be right at home in the United States.
Yeah.
But now you've got a prime minister who, wants to make your country. Has he come out and said he wants you majority Islam, or is he being a silent warrior for the caliphate?
Well, see, he's got to be careful now because we've got. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out what I just did to my story here. So we've got, like, he hasn't openly said it, and now that he's done a deal with a Sikh man, that's probably not a good idea. And why did this switch to something that I didn't want? I have to my screen.
Something about, it looks like a train accident.
Yeah, I had to reshare my. I accidentally switched the. Apparently, if you hit the big long rectangle button on the very right side of your Mac keyboard,
also called the enter key, yeah.
Oh fuck, that's right. Because I forgot. I always use the enter key beside the apostrophe button.
Yeah.
I always forget that there's another enter key on the number pad. And it's been forever since I've had a keyboard with a number pad.
Yeah.
So I'm still getting used to it. But yeah, the story that I was trying to share, the one of the leaders of the not my DMs with myself. One of the leaders of the convoy, the trucker convoy, Pat King. He was arrested and his trial is coming up. But he's still lawyer shopping. Because nobody wants to defend him. Because while there were some people in the convoy that there was some initial protests that yes, okay, agree, the vaccine mandates are dumb, all this stuff. But Pat King, Tamara Lich, and Chris Berber, and some of the select few people that they invited into their hotel rooms at night for their live streams, they got weird. And they got weird really fast. And when I mean weird, I mean they were pushing Andrew Wakefield anti-vax points. They were Christians for crypto was one of the things that they were talking about, whatever the fuck that means. And then
I doubt that's anything good.
I've heard video of Pat King going on very racist tirades, like actual racist, saying his big thing is Sikhs taking over Canadian trucking industry. And he claims that
he hasn't known very many Sikhs if he hates Sikhs.
No. Because he claims that the Sikhs come over here and they refuse to integrate into Canadian
fuck right off
society, and that all they want to do is take our jobs and take our women, and
they work really hard and they're really good at what they do.
Sikhs are some of the most proud Canadian citizens.
American too.
Ever.
Same deal.
Yeah. Because
English.
They are so proud to come over and they integrate, they start businesses.
They have self-respect. They're good influences on children.
Absolutely. The Sikh unit in World War I, the Canadian Sikh, holy
famous.
Shit, they're crazy and scary and famous.
Don't feel pain.
You can't, when you listen to Pat King, you're like, what are you talking about, you crazy man? So this guy is still lawyer shopping. Now, this is written by the CBC, so let's take into account the severe left and government bias they have.
You can't really know anything from reading an article from the CBC because it's so pushed to one side.
Yeah.
You really don't know what parts are actually true, verifiable, and what parts are just speculation on the part of the author.
Yeah.
That aren't provable or knowable or testable or falsifiable or anything that would give you any sense of any confidence that that reflected reality. Jeez.
Yeah. Pincolo says Pincolo says, don't forget, it wasn't just the COVID vaccine. These guys were literal anti-vaxxers. Yeah.
I've no time for nut jobs of any camp, and then some of the anti-vaxxers were just clearly beyond the pale.
Yeah. It drives me crazy. Why did I just hit the enter key again? Go back. Okay.
She can't be stopped.
No, I can't. So
As convoy leader Pat King's trial approaches.
Yeah,
Okay, so he's being tried, and he looks like a big old truck driver.
yeah, and he's very much Alberta. Like you, he is very much an Albertan guy. Like you, unfortunately, and I know a lot of very nice Albertans that aren't racist assholes, right?
Well, yeah,
But there is a stereotype of Alberta being Canada's fucking
Arkansas is
yeah.
what you're looking for.
And
Arkansas is the
yeah,
word. Yes.
this guy embodies that stereotype, right?
Yeah.
This guy,
Charlie marry our cousins. What's wrong with that? One old boy married his pig.
yeah. So it says convoy protest leader Pat King does not have a lawyer for his upcoming criminal trial. Well, that's a problem.
Mm.
But he told the court this week he is shopping for one, as his supporters boast of raising more than $60,000 for his legal defense. How's he going to get that money?
I don't know.
His account was one of the ones that were frozen. Now, and okay,
He can
so
have a GoFundMe, of some kind, or something that amounts to a GoFundMe, and can sign that money over from a bank. They haven't taken his banking privileges away completely. They
no,
just froze his
yeah,
MasterCard account.
and so now I do not think that the Emergency Act was warranted in this situation at all. But I would also like to point out that there were well over 10,000 participants in this convoy, and only 76 accounts were frozen. So
It's still unforgivable.
it is, but I
That step
don't
is
like
a bridge
I just don't
too
like
far.
the mass freezing. No, it wasn't mass freezing. It was 76 people who demonstrated a clear connection to, like, Chris Berber has clear connection.
So is that okay if they have a clear connection to bring the full weight of of basically saying you can't exist in society anymore because we suspect you of this, or we're pretty
I
sure
don't
you
think
did
that
this?
they're saying you can't exist in society anymore because you have connections to terrorist groups. I'm
Yeah.
saying that they're saying that you can't have a bank account right now because you can't have this bank account
Okay.
because you are connected to domestic terrorist groups, like long-standing, not newly deemed domestic terrorist, like long-standing, for decades, terrorist groups that and then mysteriously a truckload of guns goes missing during this convoy
Yeah,
somehow. Like
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy about terrorist groups on either side either. Yeah, it's
it's a tricky situation because, like,
mhm.
you don't get to keep your privileges if you're going to break laws like, domestic terrorism laws, or like any laws, right? If you're a murderer, you don't get and you get caught, you don't get to keep your privileges.
Yeah, you do. You get
Not
you
all
get
of
it. You
them.
get
You have certain rights, like
what happens
rights to,
actually what
you have
happens,
rights to like meals
the
and
government's
stuff.
rights come into conflict with your rights. You don't lose any rights. It's just there is a competing set of rights. The government has an interest in keeping peace and order. If you're out there killing people and maiming people at will, the government has an interest in saying, okay, you still have the right to your freedom, but you constitute such a threat to the public order, to other people's well-being, so that you could compromise more of their rights, the sum of those rights that you are likely, that you have proven you have a propensity for violating. We're going to briefly and temporarily while we ascertain the situation, take your rights away from you, put you in jail, and then we're going to quickly, right to speedy trial, habeas corpus, all that stuff. We're going to try you and have a finding of guilty or not guilty. If you're guilty, then you really could. Then society will really assert its right to, order, and it will abrogate virtually all of your rights. That's the way the rights argument works. The problem is people think that they lose their rights. They don't lose any rights. It's just that a competing set of rights comes into play. That's what imprisonment is. It may seem like I'm making a big deal out of nothing.
Well,
and I do that. Old
the
people
same
do that
thing could
sometimes.
be
But
said for these freezing of these assets because they're not
exactly.
not frozen forever. Like they
Right.
are going to get them back. They're being
and you're getting exactly to the nut of the problem.
Yeah.
What time limit did Trudeau put on the freezing? And the answer is none. The answer is he said they'll be frozen until I say they're not frozen. And that is tyranny.
Well, Pinkalo does bring up civil asset forfeiture, which is a thing in the States.
Well, that's
very
tyrannical. Evil beyond understanding. Evil beyond understanding.
Which is, yeah, that's pretty bad.
You will get no argument from me. That is a taking that has a very sketchy philosophical underpinning. It's kind of like, well, we have to do something, so we're going to hurt them. This is a mindless way we can hurt the people we think are bad. Well, when government gets in the business of doing that, it's because it's failing in other places, and we are.
Like the military guy who didn't trust banks, so he had like, what was it, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, but he had the receipts that was like, this is my money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he was pulled over, and the drug dogs were called in because there was like, hey, there's a lot of cash here.
Yeah, there's cocaine on this cash, as there is on one out of every $5 bills in these.
Cocaine on all of the cash. Right?
Yeah, there's detectable cocaine on 1 out of every 5. That's the estimate bills in circulation in American currency, which in any pile of cash, obviously you're going to have some. So they took his money away.
Yep.
And in theory, that tell me that can't be abused. Tell me that's not going to be subject to abuse.
I hope
it shouldn't exist.
I really hope that he is able to get, because that's just horrible.
Yeah.
Like, you serve your country, right? And you choose, you should have the freedom to choose not to keep your money in a bank. Right? That's really up to you.
One of the things that only cryptocurrency can save us from is what amounts to a history of your money and the stuff that you buy. We have documentation now where we can document everybody who buys anything. You can tell them when you bought it, how much you paid for it, who you bought it from, so forth and so on. And that's going to do nothing but get refined better and better and better, more and more and more, until eventually there won't be any transaction you can't find out what the source of it is. Eventually cash will disappear. The only alternative to a publicly known transaction, publicly identifiable and knowable transaction by the banks, will be crypto transactions. And then we'll make a decision as a society about whether or not we want crypto. They're really interesting times economically coming up. Economics is not interesting very often, but it's about to be. Anyway, but you've got another story for us. So
yes. So tomorrow, this year's federal budget is being announced. And this federal budget is the budget that's going to be happening with the supply and confidence agreement between the NDP and the Liberals.
The supply and confidence agreement. Only Canada would have an agreement called that. That's
Now,
so Canadian.
Now, this agreement is very different. Like, it's a little bit different from other coalition governments because they
How so?
specifically did not form a coalition here.
Why?
Okay, so here's why. And I think this was all on Jagmeet's part. I think Justin would have gladly gone for a coalition because he needs it, right?
Someone else to blame.
Now, okay, thank you for telling me in the stream everything. Now, so I think this was all on Jagmeet Singh's idea not to make this a coalition. So what's now going to happen is the NDP is going to back the Liberal minority government in the
so
House,
they can form a government,
so that they can keep their government until 2025. This is also going to effectively hamstring the Conservatives and the Bloc Québécois from making any sort of confidence vote for the next 3 or 4 years. Now,
have they got a significant enough majority where they can pass funding issues and other things that would otherwise be a confidence vote?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah. Now, Jagmeet supplies is the confidence part of this agreement. The Liberals are the supply part of this agreement. Okay.
Okay, explain that to me if you could.
Jagmeet provides
what do they supply?
Confidence votes and the backing. Trudeau supplies the bills that are passed because he's the government in power, so they're the ones that have to.
So they wouldn't call it bill origination group, they call it the supply. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Canada.
Yeah. So
supply Canada. Okay.
So basically, Jagmeet and his party are supporting the Liberals, and the Liberals basically, like, Jagmeet could be like, I really want you guys to push through a national pharmacare bill. And if you don't,
we'll walk away.
Hey, you make a giant house umbrella, honey. Yeah. And if you don't, we won't support you.
Okay.
And they have the ability to do that because they don't have a coalition agreement.
Okay, coalition agreement would effectively rope Jagmeet Singh et al. Into voting with the Liberals on virtually everything.
Yeah. So tomorrow's budget is going to reflect this. And Jagmeet Singh, I'm thinking of I might have to do 2 streams tomorrow because I wanted to do my afternoon Twitch stream, but I may have to go over. Jagmeet Singh spoke yesterday about his budget expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And so I may have to go over both his expectations and the actual budget. Or I might do that on Friday's coffee stream. But this says Thursday's federal budget will include a surtax on financial institutions that have made huge profits during the pandemic, CTV News has learned. They only made huge profits because the government printed a whole bunch of money. Like, this is punishing. This is okay. This is like the mob boss and his lieutenant, like his trusted lieutenant, right? Pulling off a giant shakedown. And then when they get caught, the mob boss turns around and goes, "It was all him, and I'm gonna punish him for it, god damn it." So now he owes me extra protection.
So, yeah, Canadian politics doesn't make any more sense than states politics,
Right.
really.
No, it doesn't.
They're all crazy. They all end up doing such absurdly suboptimal things.
Yeah.
Things that there's never any long-term view. There's never any, let's take the long-term view and do something that's doable and sensible and controllable and no, it's immediate bang for the buck.
So it says, in being asked to share their wealth, the big charter banks and insurance companies are bracing for the new targeted measure that is expected to increase their corporate income taxes.
That's not sharing the wealth, by the way.
Hmm?
That's not sharing the wealth, by the way.
No, it's not.
That's called taking their money away from them.
Yes.
That's what that is.
And if the government doesn't think that that's not going to trickle down to the consumer, they're idiots.
No, you're not wrong.
They're complete idiots. In their 2021 election platform, the Liberals vowed to slap a 3% surtax on banks and insurers who earn more than $1 million a year.
That's just nuts.
Or $1 billion a year. Sorry. But
yeah.
Still.
What if they earned $1 billion and didn't make any profit? So you're going to slap them with a 3% loss on top of the fact that they had an operating loss? And there will be places that take in revenues of $1 billion and have expenses more than $1 billion.
Oh yeah,
that happens with banks all the time.
Sure.
This just makes me tired. They pursue all the wrong remedies. These liberal nostrums that just by infinite taxes on the rich, everything will be fine. That's just not true. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
No, it's not. It's moving forward in the near term on tax changes on financial institutions who have made strong profits during the pandemic was cemented in the Liberal NDP deal inked a few weeks ago, stemming from both parties' commitments to go after pandemic profiteers. Oh no, Pincalo, they're coming for you.
I was going to say, at what level are you a profiteer? Is anybody who was affected in any positive way by the pandemic, looking at you, DoorDash, do they get nailed too? I guess they do, probably. How insane. You penalize the stars of your economy. Mm-hmm. So you hurt them for doing well. I've never understood that. I've never understood a tax on corporate profits or dividends, by the way.
Pincalo says there are so many ways to play hide the money with the CRA. It's insane, especially with the corporation. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we have an accountant person who understands all that stuff. Let's see. In the last election, the Liberals pledged that they would raise income taxes on the largest, most profitable banks and insurance companies and bring forward an, a temporary, oh, of course, a temporary dividend, a Canada recovery dividend that these companies would have to pay. So, on top of the tax, it would be an extra dividend.
So if they've done the right thing for a long enough period of time, they get penalized extra.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. And liberals estimated, folding their hands and slavering, that the 3% surtax would bring in approximately $1.2 billion a year, totaling $3.6 billion in the next 3 years.
That's not very much.
They're stealing that money.
Yeah.
They're just stealing that money. And they say liberals estimated that the 3% theft would bring in approximately $1.2 billion in stolen goods, totaling $3.6 billion stolen from innocent companies over the next 3 years.
Yep.
You know, when you actually say what it is, it changes the meaning. Fucking hell. Taxation is theft. I want that on my tombstone.
This is crazy. We have a plan for everyone, and to finance this plan, we will ask the largest banks and insurance companies to do a little more to share their pandemic profitabilities.
What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly
Oh
go
my
wrong?
Lord.
Yes, the little guy gets victimized. Snip, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Pinkowell says, now I want you to take what you just read and look at what the Democrats are doing in the states. It is the exact same thing. He's correct.
Yep.
He's absolutely correct. And particularly the extreme left wing of the Democrats in the United States, they want to go just down this path. Exactly.
Yep. The AOC.
So all right, the NDP's suggestion was that given the rising cost of living and wealth inequality,
that they started.
Wealth inequality, let that sink in for a moment. The billions of dollars recouped should go directly towards measures that help Canadians make ends meet. Okay, how about a fair market to go out and earn $1 in? No, we're going to tip the market on its side, and so that we choose the winners. That's what your government's doing. That's what my government's doing too. It just absolutely fucking pisses me off. You never get the best stuff that way. You never get the best society. You never get the real winners. You know, we're choosing who the winners are, and right now we're choosing to have people who developed in a certain physical environment, a personal body space environment with certain chemicals in their body that help them build giant muscles compared to other people they will be competing against. We're choosing them to be the champions.
Yep.
Because reasons.
Speaking of identity quotas, I actually have an article about that today.
Do you really? What is it? What's it about?
So, Canadian universities, this is an opinion piece here from the National Post. And apparently, Canadian universities are specific. They have like 9 identity categories that they have to pick from.
Yeah.
And can you guess what is not in the category, in any of the categories?
White male?
Able-bodied white men.
Oh my God. Geez. You know, I'm looking at a thing on your National Post from Andrew Coyne. It says liberals' commitment to diversity would quickly do this. So there we go. Uh, Liberals' commitment to diversity would be a lot more admirable if they were not so selective about it. Under Trudeau, one axis of diversity has been displaced by another. In place of region, seats on the Supreme Court will be allotted by sex and race. And I'm looking at your Supreme Court justice, and none of these people look normal. They all look like crazy people in Santa Claus suits. That's the damnedest thing in the world. I mean, our black robes are mordant, but the Santa Claus suits, it might be just a little too on the nose. I did not realize that's the way they dressed. I really did not. That's awesome. Um, does everybody know what I'm talking about? I'll actually, I'll share my.
Oh, I've got my screen shared up already.
Oh, okay, no worries.
So this is an opinion piece by Jamie Sarkanek.
Sarkanek.
The Canadian universities, or why Canadian universities are blocking able-bodied white men from some positions. When inclusion turns into active exclusion, it isn't fair anymore. Nope, it never was fair. Regardless of what immutable characteristics it is.
My goodness.
So this says people should not be barred from jobs because of their skin color or their gender. We call that discrimination, and it's generally considered a bad thing. It's also bad that universities across Canada are also refusing to hire white men for various positions simply because they are white, male, and don't claim to have any disabilities.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I remember getting very upset in high school when I tried out for the variety show in grade 9. It was a student run variety show. It was done every year, and there was a drama portion, a dance portion, and a music portion. And in grade 9, I tried out for the drama portion. And I got in, but they wrote a part for me, and they wrote me a blind part.
Right.
How original for me to act.
It's a stretch.
And then the blind character was like Three Stooges level of
blind,
right?
Yeah, blind stereotype.
Walked into everything, fell over thin air. It was bad, right?
Yeah, and restricted to the house. Can't go anywhere. Can't do anything.
I refused, and I was very offended to do it.
Well, you should be.
And everyone was like, well, we don't understand. We wrote this part just for you. We're trying to be inclusive. And I'm like, I don't want you to include me just because of my disability. I wanted you to include me because you thought I was good and that you wanted me there. Right?
You know, I'm reading this article that you have. I called it up myself.
Yeah.
I just want to read one quick paragraph. It says, that's right. It's the next thing that you're going to read.
Yeah.
That's right. The federally funded Canada Research Chair Program, which doles out roughly $300 million every year to 2,000 academics, adheres to an identity quota system. Universities risk losing funding for positions if they haven't hired the designated number of research chairs by 2029 in each identity category. Women, visible minorities, Indigenous people, and people with disabilities.
Yeah.
As a result, some resumes are going straight into the trash. I wish I was exaggerating. Being not white, male, or able-bodied was a requirement for the University of British Columbia's 2022 research chair job postings in food science and quantum computing. Wow. A mathematics department job posting for a research chair in computational cell biology specifically says that the selection will be restricted to members of the following designated groups: women, visible minorities, members of groups that are racially categorized, persons with disabilities, and Indigenous people. Similar requirements were listed for University of Toronto's positions in management, education, dentistry, engineering, and medicine. Queen's University only wants women for geotechnical engineering, nuclear waste storage, and applied artificial intelligence. Western University doesn't care about the researcher's area of study in one opening, but requires that the candidate have a disability. A McGill posting prefers those who say they have a disability or are Indigenous. There are 78 schools in Canada's research chair program. Just Google CRC and any university's name to look for more. The Canada Research Chair Program is doing this because of a federal court order that requires research appointments to reflect the Canadian population by 2029. It's just following the law.
So does that mean I could apply to like any university, even though I didn't finish high school or university, and be like, I'm blind?
Well,
They'd have to hire me?
in theory, yes, because they are hiring ahead of being able to do the job. Being able to do the job is less important, evidently, than your membership in a group. I assume they'd want you at least to be familiar with the area so they could train you and have someone mind you, because that's essentially what they do. In some things like sociology, you can fake this. You can absolutely hire some idiot, and in whatever group they're a member of, and they can function just fine. The garbage that's coming out of sociology right now is just appalling.
Even back,
but when you get into geotechnical engineering, nuclear waste storage, applied artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and computational cell biology, no, that's a different story.
You need to know
fake
a little
those.
bit about.
Yeah, there's math in those. There's lots of math, tons of it, and you have to know how to do that. So what they do is they hire the person who holds that job, and they pay them that, and they get to go to all the luncheons and dinners and talks that they don't understand, that you might as well be teaching integral calculus to a cow. That they sit there and can make appropriate noises. Meanwhile, they will have an assistant who does all their work.
Yeah.
And I mean all of it. It will be just like Piper Heron at University of Hawaii.
Yeah.
Just a complete saying that, fulfilling, her as a math professor is much less important than her as a writer of screeds of diversity. And in point of fact, she's never done anything in math after she got her PhD, has never written one paper.
That's terrifying.
Yep.
This is, I just thought we should, like, we would look at that, because, like, as I said, like, I remember that give me freaking part in the school play, and like that was offensive enough. Like, I would, if I was given, like, because some of these job titles are pretty prestigious and these universities are pretty prestigious, and I would want to earn my way there, right? Like,
these people just want the money.
Yeah.
They just want the money. They want the phony recognition, and they think that the world is all a bunch of bullshit anyway. This is if you want to go back to old style therapeutic psychology, in the games people play universe, where you have these life positions of I'm okay, you're okay, I'm not okay, you're not okay. They basically are I'm not okay, you're not okay, or I'm okay, you're not okay, which is the criminal thing, which means that they don't care anything about what you want, what you believe, or what's right. They believe that they are right. Everyone else who does not agree with them is completely wrong and needs to be destroyed. And that's where Trudeau is. That's the really scary thing about Trudeau, is he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Changed my mind.
No, you're right. You're not wrong.
He's a narcissist, has some serious problems, and he is absolutely sociopathic about the people he is in charge of. He represents. He does not care.
Oh,
Anyway,
absolutely.
I
And
do go on.
no, he's you're not wrong. He's very, when he's in the House of Commons and being asked a question, and he just,
Yeah,
you could hear the smug crap, like the smug
he
smirk.
really is.
Voice.
He's so pleased with himself.
Yeah.
I can do blackface. That's just fine. Screw them. Rules are for pikers. But he really does think that way.
Yeah.
It's irritating.
Got
um,
a science article to end out the stream.
please.
Is
So a palate cleanser.
you and I, yeah, both we both love our science.
What you got?
So,
Share us up an article.
well, nobody with thighs is here to help you. Sorry, buddy.
So what's the subject of science? Are we going biology, space, quantum
Space.
physics? Space. All right. What do we got?
So Mars, they've been doing a lot of recordings with Perseverance. They actually sent a microphone along with Perseverance.
Yes, they did.
And they've been doing experiments where they've been firing lasers at nearby rocks. And not only have they been studying the composition of the rocks that the lasers have, broken down, but they've also been using the microphone to capture the time it takes for this laser to hit the nearby target and bounce back to the microphone. And they've discovered that sound moves a lot slower on Mars than it does on Earth, and it also moves at different speeds at sometimes, depending on the temperatures.
Well, you got to realize their atmosphere is, 2% of our atmosphere.
Yeah.
If that. I mean, they have almost no atmosphere.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that would affect the speed of sound. I actually don't know the physics behind that. I'd have to think about that.
So this says,
what are they saying?
This says, after landing on Mars in February last year, NASA's Perseverance rover has captured and sent fascinating sound recordings from the red planet for the first time. Now, scientists have analyzed these recordings and have found some fascinating ways that how sound behaves on Mars, and have compiled a new study. So this says some of the sounds that Perseverance captured included mechanical whine and click in the Martian wind, the rotors of the Mars helicopter Ingenuity, that's cool, and the strike and crack of rock. The crackling strike of rocks, the rock the laser that I was telling you about.
Yep.
It was found that the thin, cold, and carbon dioxide concentrated in say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
The cold, concentrated, and carbon dioxide atmosphere affects the way that sound travels on it. The speed of sound was found to be slower on Mars than on Earth. Scientists noted, pardon?
I think part of the reason that the sound dies faster, it doesn't travel as far. Sound doesn't travel as far on Mars. The molecules are actually farther apart. And sound waves are the pushing of molecules against molecules.
Yeah.
And when you have a longer distance between them, it seems like that would attenuate sooner. So it seems that makes intuitive sense to me that sound wouldn't carry as far. Higher pressure atmosphere, you would have better, um, more. You would have more a more complete sound, a richer sound. I would think that sound on Mars would sound kind of hollow
Mm.
and faint.
So
Just a
this
guess.
says scientists noted that sounds on Mars can only travel for a short distance, while short tones only cover a negligible distance. Interesting.
Yeah.
What intrigued the scientists the most about Mars's atmosphere was the silence that prevailed on it.
Didn't
According,
they think their microphone was? Oh, yeah. They thought their microphone was broken.
yeah,
It says that actually in the next sentence. I remember them
yeah, the
speculating
study
about
of
that.
the study of the author's study from Toulouse. He says, explaining the reason behind the silence, co-author Baptiste Chaik said, Mars is very quiet because of the low atmospheric pressure. He
Yeah.
added that the pressure keeps changing with the seasons on the red planet. Okay.
Oh
So
yeah.
I bet you the pressure changes a lot more noticeable on Mars than it is here.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, you have changes like a difference of an order of magnitude on Mars, where here we just get, a few percentage
Yeah.
points change. And
Well,
we get a 3% change in our air pressure. We have storms.
I wonder what kind of migraine I'd get on Mars with a pressure change.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh shit!
I've
I
got
think it's
I've got
bad
a little
here.
bit of a hard stop at noon. It's actually kind of a hard stop, really a hard stop.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bail and go
That's
pick up
fine. I'm
a
almost done
youngster.
anyway, so you cut out, and I will finish up here for the next
I,
like 5 or 6.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to leave you in the lurch.
No
I
worries.
was not expecting to have this. Just came up this morning that I would need to go and pick her up. So
No worries.
it's a beautiful day. She can stand out in the sunshine for a minute. But I did want to thank you for having me on. I love coming on here for Wednesdays with Skep. It's when we can both work it into our busy schedules. It's big fun. So I wanted to thank you for having me on. And it's
Well,
great
I'm
to see
glad
everybody.
you were able to come on, and that you have a great rest of your day.
All right, we'll laugh at Canada in the interwebs together. You take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, Skep.
All right, bye everybody.
So this continues on to say, what was I going to say? Going by this, he said that as we enter the high pressure season, Mars may get quieter than the time that the rover landed on it. Oh, interesting. The experiment with the ringer inside the bell jar that has evacuated. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. The sounds were recorded using the microphone attached to Perseverance's supercam, which was mounted on the rover's mast. Sounds were also recorded uh, from the second microphone that was attached to the chassis. Okay. Let's see. This microphone helped record the pings and puffs of the rover's gaseous removal tool. Oh, the tool that removes the dusts and the rock shavings away. Gotcha. Let's see. Do we have a sound clip? First published April 6th, 2022. Do we not have a play sound button? Aw. That sucks. Oh well. Sad. Sad. Oh well. Well, my friends, that's going to take us to the end of our show today. I do thank you for coming. If Logan goes back to school tomorrow, which I'm pretty sure he will, there will be a Beat the Blind Girl at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And I will be doing a coffee stream on Friday. We'll be going over the federal budget that happened tomorrow. And on Saturday, we will be covering season 2, episode 6 of Picard on the Star Trek stream. Also, don't forget to come by on Saturday night to the Discord server at 10. We're going to watch a movie called See for Me, and you're not going to want to miss my reactions to this movie. Trust me, it's going to be good. So come by the Nerd Sanctuary Discord server. If you don't have a link to it, hit me up on Twitter and I will hook you up. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. And I will see you tomorrow on Twitch. Bye, guys.